This is a big mistake in my A-level maths revision that I made that I wish I could go back and do differently. Maths is arguably one of the most popular A-level subjects, and with A-level exams rapidly approaching, here are my top tips on how to get the best grades you can. Hi, I'm AliMahdi. I'm a Year 13 student studying biology, chemistry and maths at A-level. Now I'll be sitting my A-level maths exam in just under a month, so I'd like to share my advice on how you can revise for your A-level maths exam. Now, maths is not, a content-heavy subject where you need to, memorize information like, for example, biology. So making and doing flashcards or learning content will not get you, too far and will not let you hit those highest grades. And it's not an essay subject either, so preparing, plans for exam questions that could come up would also not be really, an effective way to revise. But maths is simply all about practice. So once you understand the concept, it's just about, practicing it repeatedly until you're able to do it again and again and again. So here are my steps to learning anything in maths. My first step to learning in maths is simply just learning the concepts and the methods behind any mathematical processes. And this can be done through, for example, listening in class. So listening to your teacher, explain and give examples on how to do certain processes within maths. Another way is, using and looking at the examples in your textbook. And personally, this is what has helped me the most after, listening in class. Just being able to see step by step how each process is done and how questions are done. Another way to learn concepts in maths is watching YouTube videos. There are hundreds and thousands of YouTube videos that are, absolutely free that you can access to learn different concepts, whether it be, differentiation, integration, or some of the earlier topics like partial fractions perhaps. So anything that you may be struggling with or you want to learn for the first time, having someone explain it on a YouTube video while they run through a question can be, really useful and help you understand how to do certain types of questions. So for example, I can see in my textbook, the general formula for integration and examples of how to do integration and the questions that may, come up in an exam. Now, my second step to learning in maths is practicing these methods, using questions from your textbook. And like I mentioned, the textbook is invaluable and there's so many, examples, but also questions. And within each subtopic, the questions, they start off with the basics and they progressively get harder as you're, more able to do the questions. And to be honest, the textbook is really your best friend with maths. And it will give you, a wide variety of question types, both easy and hard, to help you learn with, exam style questions as well. Now, going back to the integration example, you can see that the questions at the start of the exercise tend to be, very repetitive and, repeating the basics and how to simply just do the process of integration, with no problem solving involved, but just making sure that you're, practicing the mathematical concept of integration. Now, as you progress through the exercise, the questions, get more complex and may start to contain, more problem solving. And now this is, more similar to exam style questions. But after, banging out lots and lots of questions of the basics, you can start to be able to work on these harder questions that involve, more problem solving. My third and final tip when learning anything in maths is just doing past paper questions. So like I said, maths is all about practice and doing as many questions as possible. And so once you feel comfortable with the exercises in the textbook and feel used to kind of the methods and the concepts within the topic, you should move as fast as you can onto exam style questions. Now, the great thing about maths is most exam boards are relatively similar. So there are so many resources of, your own exam board, but also all the other exam boards out there that will help you so you never really run out of questions to do. I would personally recommend saving your exam board's past papers for closer to your exam period, so you're able to do the more exam realistic questions closer to your actual exam. This is a big mistake in my A-level maths revision that I made that I wish I could go back and do differently. Now, going back to my lovely integration example, this is an example of an integration question. As you can see, it's certainly more complex than the textbook questions, and it also involves, several other topics, which is why it's so important to keep up to date and practice even the basics, like partial fractions or even factorizing, for example. Now, as I mentioned before, and I keep mentioning this and I will keep mentioning this again and again, but the most important thing with maths is just practice. The more questions you do, the better you'll get. It's as simple as that. Now, maths may not come to you easily, and that's, completely okay. Just make sure you're consistently practicing by doing questions so you don't forget and you're able to do certain topics like it's nothing. If you want more tips on A levels, whether that be, maths, chemistry or biology, please do subscribe. And if you found this video useful, please leave a like and comment, especially for any questions that you may have.